Hey, Crown Content Publications followers, viewers, supporters, listeners. I think I named you all. Thank you for clicking on my video again today to see what it is I have to say. If you're new to my channel, welcome. This is the hub where you can find inspiration, motivation, tips, and advice and referrals for entrepreneurs, business owners, authors, especially self published authors, writers, poets. We are where publishing and marketing meet because we're on a mission to keep the power of business networking alive in 2022. A lot of people are in this place of stagnation or fear because, we're just seeing things that have never happened happen in this time in society. And I'm human too, so I can't blame y'all for that. I just want to be who I am in this world, who I've always been. Make sure I'm doing these motivational, mental, well checked segments and things like that. Keeping the power of networking and love alive. The reason I love networking so much, in case you guys wanted to know, is because networking is a form of love. You know what I mean? Like, just about every entrepreneur, for example, or every business knows they wouldn't be where they are today without having to network, connect, or join in unity at some point with another business so that they could function the way that they need to. And I feel like I'm very great at that. I feel like I've always been a people's person anyway. I love to get to know not just new people, especially when it comes to culture, because it wasn't just history classes and what's the other class, y'all? Oh, I just took it recently in college. I can't even put my. It's the study of culture, not philosophy. It'll come to me in a minute. But it wasn't just classes that molded me into a people's person, is my point. Life experience molded me into a people's person. I learned that the more I can communicate with people that don't look like me, who don't live like me, who don't choose to make the choices I make every day in life, the more I could learn that, this is how big the world is. It didn't take me setting foot out of my home state and city to learn that there were going to be people that weren't like me around me, for the rest of my life, right? On jobs, in business, at doctor's offices, no matter what it is I have to do in life, where I have to go, there will always be somebody different there, right? And the more that I can almost, I don't want to call it shapeshift or blend in, because I'm not looking to blend in. I'm looking to be respected for who I am while also respecting others for who they are. It sounds so simple, or it sounds so cliche. You're probably like, where are you going with this? But if you saw the title of this segment, it says something like unity in culture. The significance of unity in culture. What I have sat back and observed the past, I'll say 12 years in my life for sure. Like, y'all don't understand. Um, I'm not a therapist. I don't get paid to study people, but I do because I'm into people that way, if that makes sense. Like, I don't even know if there's a word for it, but it might be a part of who I am and growing as an author too, and as a entrepreneur too. I love who I am as a mother, being able to teach my children at an early age. Like, look, everybody's not always going to agree with you. Everybody's not going to look like you. And even the ones that look like you, they came from a different environment. They came from a different household. You don't always have to agree with what the next person may feel or is doing, but definitely respect it, because this is how you gain respect. Not just going out there speaking like, hey, I respect you, so respect me. Your actions, your walk, what you stand on, your principles, your morals, and your life can sometimes mold you into a leader. And you weren't looking to be a leader, but sometimes people respect it. They want to follow. They're not trying to be just like you, but they are looking to grow themselves, and be able to respect different walks of life just like that. So I notice when it comes to culture, like, for example, the way people greet others in one culture may not be how you greet others in your culture, right? I've met people where, you come to their household for a gathering or whatever, this is how they greet you. On the cheek. They don't have to know you. They don't have to know you. They don't have to know who invited you. But if you come to the door, somebody invited you, you're a guest of one of the invites, this may be how they greet people, right? Some people greet with handshakes. You know what I mean? Some people they don't do any touching at all. It's just conversing. I have to get to know you before there's any type of touchy feely things going on. I'm gonna go back to what I said. I respect it all at the end of the day. I'm not gonna say it's funny. I understand it. That's why I laugh on the side when y'all hear me make my little chuckle noises before I make a statement. That's what it is. It's like I understand it so much. Trying to put it in words, it's hard for me. Now, putting it down in words, writing, it's easy for me, and this is why I became an author. But like trying to communicate it, it's so funny. I have a YouTube channel now, though. It's so crazy because like I've never just been a shy type speaker. That was me. I don't feel like I should speak unless I'm asked a question or whoop, whoop, whoop. But it is funny to see myself grow into a person that knows that it's okay for me to have my own opinion, my own perspective about something and speak on it even when I haven't been asked. So that's what this YouTube channel is about at the end of the day. Not just like tips and referrals and things like that for entrepreneurs and authors, but also those tips, those little tips and nuggets that help us continue to succeed as human beings, as a human race. Okay, one thing I notice about humans, we all blink, we all sleep, we all bleed. To me, we focus too much on how we're different, like what that person has that I don't have, what this person is doing that I probably wanted to do but couldn't do, right? We don't take the time to slow down and assess the very real fact that like we are all so similar at the end of the day too. You know what I mean? And unless you have some type of birth defect, which I'm not disrespecting those that do, but for the majority part, we all have two eyes, a nose. This is how you know a person is a human. But I notice with humans, it's like levels. It's like, okay, well, what color is she? What type of background does she come from? What type of money does she make? What type of men is she into? Or what is her sexuality? These are the things that people assess about the next human that allow them to deem whether they're, compatible for them in a business relationship, in a work relationship, and in a family relationship, right? Your mother-in-law might say, well, I don't like her because she has green eyes, and you know how I feel about women with green eyes. That's an example. Should we really, really, really judge people based off of, and y'all know I love talking about judgment. I'm finna do another segment in a minute because this is not about that. But if you're going to bring up, or if you're even going to call yourself judging somebody, even in real judgment, guys, in court, there's no judgment without some type of justice for one side or the other. But that's going to be another segment I do. I think I'm about to title it, you know what I mean? Like earthly judgment versus spiritual judgment. Because, like, yeah, I did a practice kind of like podcast just where I recorded myself talking about it, but I didn't bring it like publicly or anything. But even I saw some great points when I went back and listened to myself talking about it, because we love to be judges, or we unconsciously judge, guys. And it's probably not your fault. Society has kind of taught us to do this. Like it's a difference between having a judgment of character, right? Knowing what type of people to allow in your space, knowing what type of people that are not good for your space, and just judging people because that's the type of person you are. So I'm not out here to preach to anybody or make them feel bad. You know who you are if you're that type of person. Do some self-checking, because at the end of the day, this segment today is about cultural unity, cultural divisions. Why do some cultures seem to be more unified than others? Why does it seem easier for some cultures to come together and love one another properly than for others? I'm not the first person to bring up a topic like this, but I say personally, every generation, somebody's going to notice somebody's going to notice the issues of that generation. Am I wrong or right? Can y'all agree with me? every generation, if it's still a broken system, if it's still a broken problem, if it's still a broken area somewhere, somebody's gonna notice it. And I noticed that about uh, cultural unity. Cultures that are able to come together for a common interest, not just do that, but also succeed in that common interest goal. Okay? And man, this could get deep because oftentimes I hate feeling like, why does it seem like, and I've already said this before for those that know me or that know about my upcoming book about religion versus spirituality. It was very important to me that I pointed out that the first four letters of culture is cult. Now, cult, I don't want to rub anybody wrong. A cult is just simply a group of people that share a common interest in something, and because they share that common interest, they come up with these traditions, they come up with these perceptions that everybody must believe, these rituals that everybody must do. This is a way of showing their love for that culture. Okay, but cult is that. A basketball team, for example, can be considered a cult. All these guys practice day in and day out. They come up with plays together. They constantly come up with the best defense, with the best offense for how they are going to remain the strongest team in that legion of teams, okay? And that's kind of how life is to me. There are going to be legion and groups of different type of people with similar interests. So what do I look like just being one individual standing on my own morals and principles and beliefs and walking into a cult, whether it's good or bad, of 50 people who already have their minds made up about what it is they believe, how they follow it, how they going to treat outsiders, and whoop-de-whoop. What you have to go through to be initiated in this team or to be hired on this team. Are you going to be, a rookie bench warmer, bench sitter for the first 2 years? Is that what it takes for me to be considered a part of this culture? Now, a lot of cultures are the very ways that they are today because there's been a generation of repetition of a certain practice or beliefs that they've had. That's all culture is, guys. I had to start this off explaining that first, okay? I'm not here to tell you guys you didn't know what culture is. Sometimes, like I said, it's just me giving something you probably already heard from a bright and fresher perspective, okay? From my perspective to yours. And you don't have to agree. But you don't have to always agree with something to respect something. It's a lot of cultures out here, y'all, that I might not agree with how they do things. I might not agree, but there's certain parts of those cultures that I respect. For example, I can respect how organized any culture is. I can respect it. I can respect, like, man, they got a chief in command. They got master chief. Then they got the three second in command chiefs. And then they got the. I can respect a culture's hierarchy. Who goes to who when there's a problem? Do they have solutions when there is a problem in their system and their culture is not working? How they formed it to work? Does everybody have a job? Does everybody feel included? Depending on what type of culture or culturistic environment it is, I've learned to respect certain things about cultures. Probably, like I said, not necessarily what they do, but I'm the type of person that'll sit back like, that culture right there seems very organized. That culture right there seems very unified. That culture right there, when somebody has a question or a new idea or a new, perception on how things can be even better, you know what? Even the leaders of that culture sit back and listen. So that's the difference between respecting and agreeing with anything in life. But since I'm talking about culture today, and how different cultures seem more organized and unified, and even understand love. This is what I'm tired of too. Like, this is just something I have noticed. People think that, I don't know what people think love is today. As a matter of fact, in today's date, March June 21st, 2022. So I meant what I said. These days, I really don't know what people consider love anymore. Me personally, I can tell a person I love them because I know I love the earth I live on. I love the different cultures that are around me. I love that nobody is exactly like me, not even my children, and they come from me. They have their own personalities. I love that. So when I tell a person I love them, I wonder, do they understand it? How do you love you? How do you love me? You don't know the least bit about me, Miss Whitney. Well, see, that's something that you didn't have to earn from me. They're just not used to it. How do you love me? And then the way I love you may be different. Like, I don't love you romantically. I don't love you to where because you did something for me or because I can count on you all the time. I feel like I'm a free spirit and I love people. And even when they give me a reason to not love them, I can almost sit back and assess a person and say, okay, I have to remember sometimes that everybody is not me. Everybody does not just naturally love people or give people the benefit of the doubt until they give them a reason to not love them or trust them or whatever the case is, right? But anyways, I live the way I live in hopes. You don't have to call it a leader or none of that, but sometimes you feel like you have to be the example that you want to see. You know how many people in the course of history on this globe, they were never trying to be better than you. They were never trying to be better than their neighbor or and that's okay if they were trying to be better from their than their circumstances or the environment that they came from. But maybe deep inside they knew, hey, instead of begging for change, instead of I can do that too. I can advocate for change all day long, but I need to also do this other thing where I'm leading by example. I'm being the change that I would like to see. Of course, when it comes to culture and unity, I bring this up because I feel like this is a gap that needs to be bridged somewhere. When it comes to people understanding somebody from your cultural background, somebody in your culture, in your community, or something like that, somebody that's not you understanding their comfort. Number one, you got to be willing to understand somebody else's culture. And even if they're not a part of some culture, they broke free or they said, look, I don't want to be a part of any type of culture. I want to walk as the example that I want to see as, for humankind altogether. You wouldn't know that, though, if you didn't get to understand that side of that person's culture, that side of that person's individuality, that person's perception on life, right? It's too much judging going on. But like I told y'all, I'm going to save the difference between judgment and justice segment for after this, okay? Because I feel like that's another good topic for my YouTube channel today. So I want to take y'all back to, well, let me say this first and then I'm going to jump on it. Like, we all know that there are certain cultures, boy, when they move to the Americas, when they come to, I'm going to say specifically the United States of America, for better opportunities, better jobs, better change, better education, better housing, better water, whatever it is. When they come here, oftentimes it's very expensive to move your whole family here. And you can ask anybody that's ever had to migrate, that's an immigrant, that's ever had to come here, go through that process to get a work visa, to become a legal citizen and all of that. Just ask them. They can't always bring everybody that they were unified with, even while they were struggling, even while they had a lesser life in that original country or continent that they came from. That didn't mean that they didn't love the people in that culture, that they didn't love their family back at home, because they choose to leave for better opportunities. And guess what? Oftentimes when they do leave for better opportunities, they don't have to explain too much further than that. If they tell grandma, auntie, tia, uncle, whatever it's called in whatever other language, when they say this one sentence, I'm leaving for better opportunities. Things are so strenuous in some of these countries and continents that once they say that, we're talking about culture now, once they tell family that, family already understand. Like, they don't have to explain too much about why they are doing what they want to do. So that doesn't mean that they are leaving their culture or that they don't love where they come from or their environment, but they have to make up in their mind somewhere, if I'm gonna make a difference, if I'm gonna change the cycle of this culture, we can keep our cultural values and perceptions and views even when we go to this new country. But yeah, the point is, as humans, we all gotta eat, we all gotta survive somewhere. If we want a better life, we gotta do something to make that happen. So these other cultures, I'm just using this for an example. When they migrate, when they immigrate and they come over here and things like that, and they want a better life, you think their family is sitting up questioning or judging or jealous because somebody has chosen to take that stance to change the generational cycle in their family? Mm-mm. It probably very rarely happens. And then when they come here, they have to go through steps. Like, they're going through steps of the process. They're probably keeping in contact with family back home, letting them know they're all right, letting them know each step of the phase in the process that they're going through before they become construction workers, before they become mailroom workers, sanitation workers, before they get enrolled into that new college in this new country and everything like that. They still probably got that support somehow. They wrote to family. They wrote. My main point, every culture on the globe, correct me if I'm wrong, has a different religion, has a different spirituality practice that they go by. But I'm still noticing, it seems like all these other cultures I can really name never has a problem with understanding the concept of love and unity. I'm tired of people trying to make this a religious perception type of thing, a religious background type of thing. I know people from all type of different religions outside of Christianity, outside of Catholicism, outside of Judaism, outside of Muslim and Islamists that know how to remain unified within their culture, who know how to show love within their culture to their children, to their grandmothers, to those who want to go and make a better life for themselves. Now, no country is perfect. No family is perfect. No culture. I don't care who tried to debate this with me. It's perfect. That's why, to me, and I'm going to save it for my book. I will be making new book release publications, announcements right here on the Crown Content Publications YouTube channel. I will continue to do that. If you want to check out recent ebook publications by myself, by the Crown Publishing Content family, Arthur Tedasheri Whitney, check me out on Amazon Kindle. I only have one book that's on Barnes and Nobles as well. It's titled The Shoe She Walked In. But I also have God Save the Queen, Tedasheri Whitney. Look me up on Amazon Kindle. The Power of No, the entry level guide. The guide for the entry level entrepreneur. Somebody that just might be starting off in those shoes as a millennial, and what to look out for, how the power of no is going to save your life in business and as an individual. You cannot be out here a whole yes man in the days that we live in. You're going to have to know your boundaries. You're going to have to know yourself. You're going to have to know, have a safety plan, have business insurance. It's a lot of good stuff I talk about in the power of no, but those publications are on Amazon, okay? But I have a upcoming one, you know what I'm saying, where I want to bring and just shed light on the differences between religion and spirituality to me, because that's what it is. That's what it is to me. Like, we get so deep into religion, and I'm gonna just call this out to me, like, yes, the black community, we get so deep into our religious, culturistic beliefs that we're not able to see people anymore. And to me, that's a problem. If anything, wherever you are spiritually, intuitionally, you know what I mean, should help you see people better. Should help you see somebody that's just trying to go make a better opportunity for themselves. Should help you see somebody better who doesn't want anything in life. Should help you see somebody who's only out to drain you and take you for everything you got and don't want to see, to me, anything you're practicing, any culture you in that is blinding you from seeing humans for who they are, because what I start off saying, we all have these similarities. Like, we all bleed, we all release ourselves at the bathroom probably 5-6 times a day, maybe more. We all can shed tears for the most part. We all can end up with dandruff, or, like, to me, I like to remember what all makes us the same at the end of the day. You might be this color, race, come from this culture, that. It doesn't matter how much you tell me about your culture. I'm going to remind you, somebody like me, Arthur Tedder Shirley Whitney, hey, you still bleed like I do. Well, I worked out in the gym for 20 years. I'm a bodybuilder. But guess what? You still sweat just like I do. And that woman do. And that man does. Like, we all sweat. You know what I'm saying? We all bleed. We all cry. We're still all similar in many, many ways. You have an organ right here. Like, your kidney is exactly where my kidney is. Your liver sits right on the same side of the body as my kidney sits, except you're from Afghanistan and I'm from America. You know, you have 10 fingers and 10 toes like I do, but you're from Asia and I'm from Europe. So yes, our cultures are different, but whatever culture you got going on, that's just my tip of advice, or you come from, we respect it. We know that you probably respect ours, because when you come to the Americas, you know, you do what you got to do to get by and make your life as livable as possible. But any culture or religion that has you like you can't even see people as humans anymore, you cannot treat them as humans anymore, you cannot welcome them as humans anymore, to me it's a problem. That's my only problem with religion. I don't care what religion anybody is, you know. I don't care what, you know, we all have that right to, at the end of the day, stand on the beliefs and morals and principles that we choose. But it just seems like for too long, I had to sit back and observe all these other cultures who understand the principles and the significance of two very important things like love, Love, and unity, Unity. They don't just come over here and get on their feet and say, well, forget my family back in the Honduras. I've made it. I'm making six figures now. I'm going to find me a nice Spanish wife over here in the Americas, and I'm going to move on with my life, even though I got 12 cousins and 5 kids and 2 wives back in my home country. Now, that might happen sometimes, but I'm telling y'all, more times out of none, when people come to America to change their lives, they continue working and doing what they have to do to be able to help those other people get over here too, or make better lives for them, or start them businesses in the countries that they originally came from. To me, that's love. It's kind of hard to unify or come together. You know, it's like you got to be careful with culture. Because is culture love, or culture just something that's preaching for you to do because your people did it for the past 20, 40, 100, 200, 300 years. So now you have to do it. And then test your culture. See if you decide to step outside of your culture and do something different, is the love still there from the people that you have dedicated so much of their cultural beliefs? You dedicated so much time. You dedicated so much into how they told you to dress, how they told you should eat, where they told you should go and not go, how many masses they had you come to, how many times a day they had you pray to their statue. Leave that culture and see how they treat you when you've been in it 20, 30 years. Because to me, if culture all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it makes them not see you as human anymore because you chose a different path, then to me that culture turns into CULT, and a specific type of CULT, okay? But I'm going to save my perceptions for the book I told y'all I got coming soon. Religion versus spirituality. Once again, it's not that I would be talking about a topic that has never been discussed before, but every generation of cultures, of babies born in a culture, sometimes we notice the same thing somebody else noticed 50 years ago, 2 centuries ago, 5,000 BCs ago. So you're just a fresh you're giving a fresh perception, a fresh opinion, or a fresh outlook on how you see it in your time. Boom. So anyways, you got to watch that. Like, culture, if it turns into anything other than, because like I say, these other cultures that go back and get family and think about family and what they might need and how they can help them become better in their country after they come to America, to me, only love would cause you to still think about those in your culture back home after you've already made it in another country. You done got on your feet times 10. Only love will have you still think about your daughter that's still an illegal they would be considered a legal immigrant until they became legal here. You know what I'm saying? For you to still think about how you can help them. I see other cultures doing this all day long. But then you got, I don't have to say which culture. You got other types of cultures right here in my own country who have always been entitled to certain opportunities if they wanted them, if they were willing to access the resources and referrals and the mentors that they needed to get to a certain place, who were willing to cut off any and everything that didn't have to do with them getting to their destination, who didn't have to choose the criminal way to try to get it. The people that was already here and had these fortunate opportunities, they seem to hate when they come up on these fortunate opportunities. These cultures in America seem to hate to look back and say, hey brother, let me give you a hand. And hey sister, let me give you a hand too. And hey best friend, let me give you a hand too. Hey cousin, let me give you a hand. Let me show you how to do this so you can turn this. Like, what is that? When you got people that come over here just to be able to do that. But you already been privileged to be here. So, it seems like, because me personally, I call Americans as a whole, like anybody that stays in America or that has stayed here since birth, you unconsciously became a part of the American culture until you decide that you're not a part of the American culture. Yes, it's possible to very well live here and say, look, I'm not with everything the American culture does. That's why you see some people say, no, I don't celebrate Easter. I don't celebrate Halloween. I don't celebrate this and that. I don't do this, or I don't intertwine myself in these. I'm just kind of like a resident, like a citizen here, but I am not a part of the American culture. What did I start this segment off saying? I can respect I can respect humans. I can see humans for who they are. Because at the end of the day, they're human. Strip that religion off of them if you want to. Strip that spirituality off of them if you want to. Strip the very clothes, everything they think they got off of them. I'm going to tell you what they're going to be once you strip them from strip them for everything. They're still going to be human. You cut them, they're still going to bleed. They're still going to have to urinate. They're still going to have to pass bowel movements. They're still going to shed tears if they cry. That's what makes a person human to me. Not what culture they come from, not what their religion is, not how much knowledge they do or don't have because they have chosen to obtain it or they didn't have access to obtain it or whatever. I can see a person for the human that they are. They can tell me their background. They can tell me their household, you know what I'm saying, history, their generational history. To me, none of that still has to do with their human. Because that human is going to have to wake up at some point in its life and say, man, that was just the history. That was just the culture. That was the culture of my people in history. That was the choice that my father made, that my mother made, that my sister made. That ain't me. I'm human. I'm my own human. Okay. So do culture and love tie hand in hand? What I tell y'all the first 4 letters of culture was again? To me, what deems a culture good or bad, because everybody's perception of ethics, good morals, good principles are different too. So somehow the world has become far more complicated than what it had to be in the first place. You know when something is bad when you get this ill, heart-sunken feeling. You sit there and witness something happen. You see it on the news. You see it on video camera. Or you hear it, or you see it, or you gonna feel something. Yeah, it's like, man, it's messed up. You think a person sits back and say that's messed up, that's wrong, that's bad, just because they want to be judgmental? Sometimes you can feel when something ain't right. That's like y'all telling people, hey, they don't have intuition, they don't have a gut. When they call something immorally wrong, inhumane, injustice, They're calling things like that, got those names to begin with because it made somebody feel some type of way. And you can't avoid that about life. It's a whole lot out here we're gonna do that make people feel some type of way. Why? Cause to me, at the end of the day, it's a war between good and bad. I feel like both exist. So we got the nerve to call some cultures good, some cultures bad. Like anything that just about exists. I could have two lip glosses in my hand right now, and somebody gonna say, "Well, I like that one better." They might not call this one bad, but I might say, "Why you like this one better?" Now they're giving me the negative opinions, what they felt about the other lip gloss, like that. Does culture does number one? I guess I'm trying to say, like, does love have to be involved to be a part of a culture? For culture to be real, how has culture survived this long? Did love have anything to do with it at all? Or is culture just a repetition of cycles of tradition and beliefs within a group of common people with similar interests? Because culture and all that get thrown out the window, it seems like, when it comes to a person's survival, when it comes to how a person is going to eat that day, they could be as religious as they want to all day. A Buddhist ain't ate in 2 weeks and been surviving off smoothies and water. I mean, I'm just trying to give an example. This don't have to be morally right, but it's like, withdraw a human from food for so long. Withdraw a human from the basic necessities of life for so long. It will test a person's religion, character, culture. It'll test everything about them. That's what I'm saying. Don't get so deep off into some religion, some culture. Well, my people is that you forget who you are and who the people around you are. Because once you forget to respect others, I look at that a certain way. You can't even respect others, and most times the people like that expect you to respect them. But they don't respect anything about you. They don't respect anything about how you walk, how you choose to live. Just that you are your own individual person in the first place. They don't respect it. And like I say, to me, regardless of what religions and spirituality practices these other cultures of people come from, they seem to love one another. They seem to understand the concept of love and unity. They seem to understand how to stand up when something is not right for their people. They understand the concept of unifying for all of us to have a house, and for all 10 of us to live in this house, and for all of us to split the rent, how we got to split the rent. They come from other countries doing this. So how long y'all plan on making this about religion? It's a certain community of people I'm talking to. Certain cultural people I'm talking to. Like, this seems to be a cultural curse at this point. If I'm seeing all type of other cultures be able to do this, turn back around and help their brothers and sisters after they come up, turn back around, and I'm seeing all type of other nationalities of people do this, but this one nationality of people, it's like being taught, and it's still being preached. Well, you need, somebody has to be loyal. You got to be able to trust them to help them. You got to be able to, you really don't owe nobody nothing once you come up. And this very culture of people I'm talking about has had the number one repetition of cycles of brokenness in their generational history too. Just brokenness, division, separation. What are you saying, Miss Whitney? Don't worry, I'll say more in my book. But you would think at some point, because like you break a glass cup right now, that glass cup is going to lie there broken. You can clean up the mess. It's still broken when you throw it in the trash. You can throw the trash outside in the dumpster or the garbage bin, and it's still broken when it gets to the dump field. You can take it to the dump field and burn it all up, and it was burned broken. I'm going somewhere with this. So if I drop a glass cup and it breaks, it's not ever going to get fixed. It's not ever going to be pieced back together to even resemble sturdiness as it once was ever again, unless I put my mind to, you know what? Because what would even lead a person to to fixing something that's broken? Here go that word love again. Man, I love that wine cup. Or this wasn't mine, and I have so much respect for who this wine cup belonged to. I'm finna do my best to fix it or replace it. But this is not about replacements. So I'm trying to give an analogy for how it works when something is broken. A system, an item, a culture. Like, nothing is going to fix itself. You got some animals, their skin heals back up. Even human skin, it does that. It depends on how bad the scab is. You might need stitches to help it. But something like glass or a people is not going to be fixed unless they decide in their mind on a serious level. Because that's the first step of fixing something. This is why architects and all these different type of people in certain professions, architects, remodelers, they exist because they know that sometimes something needs to be rebuilt, built, or fixed. Plumbers, janitors, maintenance workers, they do what they do and they make the type of money they make because they said, I'm willing to fix things when I get a call that something needs to be fixed. But we, as a culture of people, we see where it's broken at over and over again. In households, in churches, in relationships, in the workforce, in the prison system. And we're just like, man, we just crying over how broken it is. Like, it's broke. We get it. That part is for sure. It is broken. There's certain things in certain cultures and for generations in certain cultures, which I already broke down where culture come from, why culture is called what it is, what a culture is, what the first four letters of a culture, what the first four letters of culture is. But I'm just using the word culture to get my point out. If there's been cycles, generational cycles of brokenness in one culture, somebody at some point says, hey, I'm tired of this being broken. I'm tired of seeing everybody shed tears, because it had to be sacred to us. It has to be sacred to us. What I ask y'all, does love have anything to do with culture? Because if it don't, I don't want nothing to do. I don't want to be a part of it. I don't. I don't know. Maybe this too deep. Didn't I tell y'all I don't have to know a person to love them? But y'all want to make this about a religious perception? Maybe my understanding is that deep. I feel like everybody born into this world, the day they was born, they deserve love, and every day that they live, they deserve love. And everybody, it is unfortunate, but not everybody got the love that they deserved when they were adolescents, when they were even infants, when they were children, or there were gaps there. So if that affects a human, and we done seen this time and time, generation and generation again, we done seen how love being withheld from an individual affects them. Why would we continue in that same cycle in that specific culture? But then people look, well, they'll call you whitewash, they'll say you changed, they'll say I'm talking about a specific culture now, they'll say you trying to be better. How bad is that I wouldn't want to be a part of any community, any culture, any group of people. I don't care how organized they seem to be. Love ain't there. Because I see people that leave other countries and come here and put on for their families, and they ain't said nothing about religion or spirituality. They just know that they love their people who are suffering back home. Okay. We in a common community, though. We've been in a common community. We've been having opportunities. We've been having, you know what I'm saying, time, space, chance. But what is it about that unity? What's so hard about it when it comes to certain cultures? So anyways, I guess this could be looked at as part one, because I could talk about a topic like this all day. I'm going to close this segment out with this. If you've ever seen the movie of Lilo and Stitch, yes, it's a Disney movie. One of my favorite. I'm not a fan of all Disney movies, but they did a great job with that. As for Lion King, because there was like life lessons in those two movies I just named. But I'm gonna bring up Lilo and Stitch, uh, to give more meaning to what I'm trying to say. See, in Lilo and Stitch, that family was Hawaiian. We're talking about culture again, right? They were Hawaiian. They were on the Hawaiian island out there somewhere. And the Disney movie did a great job at pointing out, like, look, they might be Hawaiian, but tragedy can happen to any family. Tragedy can happen within the inside of any culture, of any community. Tragedy or unexpected tragedy, which might be even worse. Expected tragedy is crazy too because you expected it and then it happened. But unexpected tragedy might hurt you because you had no plans, you had no life insurance, you had nothing set up. You know what I mean? No building insurance when your business caught on fire, whatever it was. That's a tragedy. No car insurance when you had that bad wreck that day. Okay? That movie did a great job, even though it's created for kids and all that, of showing that tragedy could happen to anybody. And not only did tragedy happen to these Hawaiians, tragedy struck in a way that we probably couldn't even imagine. Even though it was just a Disney movie, the two young ladies, the teenager and the young lady, Lilo, their parents were killed in a terrible accident. So it left the big sister responsible for her little sister. And how Disney themselves showed this, y'all. Though the next sister was like pretty much the next and closest kin that, and she wanted to keep her sister because she hurting too, but her baby sister, she could feel what she's going through, and she's like, I want us to stay together. So I'll take custody of you. Let's first talk about the sacrifice that they took. 17, 18 years old, you're not ready to take care of no kid. You're not ready to take care of no kid. You're not ready for the responsibilities on top of the grieving process that both of you guys are about to have to go through. But she took on it. So, number one, I respect her big sister. Regardless of what culture of people they came from or what island they were on, she took her little sister in. That's something that can happen to anybody. And Disney shedded light on the fact that what you would call child protective services or the state, I mean, from day one, they didn't look at that she loved her sister, that she trying to keep her family together. They looked at, let's see how long you keep this charade up. Let's see how responsible you can become to even do this. Because, their main goal was really to take her little sister from her. I don't know if y'all paid attention to that, but go back and watch Lilo and Stitch. Their main goal seemed to be to separate the two of them and to make the big sister, after she's already grieving about something, make her feel like, you can't do this, you can't take care of her, and we can do better for her putting her in a foster care. Let me speed this up because I got a point to make, because this is about culture and unity and why some cultures seem to be able to do this easier than others. Is it our depths in religion, our depths in spirituality, our depths in beliefs that have blinded us to what we all need as humans at the end of the day? Because, they weren't praying girls. They didn't have a religion or nothing according to what the movie showed. But then it showed Lilo on her bedside one night. And her sister overhears it like, please send me a friend. I just need somebody I can trust. And I miss my mommy and daddy. And my sister, my big sister, I know she's trying, but she don't understand me. It touched the big sister's heart so much. She never told her little sister she heard her, but she take her to the pet store the next day, and they go find a dog, and y'all know how the story goes. Instead of a dog, she finds Stitch. The movie's called Lilo and Stitch. She finds Stitch, and it gets even deeper because their culture might have been Hawaiian, which a dog culture is a whole nother culture. That's an animal culture, but not only was he a dog, he was some type of different species. They found out later who needed love and needed that compassion from somebody and needed that support for survival from somebody, just like little Lilo did. We talking about culture versus what makes us human. Why some cultures are able to unify quicker and easier than others and help one another, and in some communities, others better than others. Now y'all know the big sister did not. She was not a fan from Stitch since the day her sister picked her from the dog pound. I mean, Stitch was just trouble, but it was just very hard for her to separate. You know, she just wanted what was best for her little sister. She even got in trouble with the workers, the state workers who would check on them weekly one day because Stitch had messed up the house so much, and she really didn't know how to explain it. She just knew that she loved her little sister, okay? This was in a whole nother culture. So, long story short, every time her big sister would say, "That's it, Lilo, we finna take this thing back to the dog pound, 'cause he's just causing too much trouble here, and I'm going through enough trying to raise you after our parents have died." And every time she would hear her little sister with that, her little sister would look at her and say, "No, what were we taught? What did our mom and dad always tell us?" And her sister would be like, don't use this against me." She said, "No, what is it?" So apparently in their family culture, as Hawaiians, before her family died, they would always say this quote or this motto that helped their family stick close together. And the quote went like this: Ohana, which is obviously a Hawaiian word, Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind or forgotten. It was one of my favorite movies, and I will use that quote to this day. I'm not Hawaiian, but it was beautiful because the same people that taught them that quote were in their culture, were in their family, were in their household, was raising them. But they ended up dying in a car wreck. And it was the baby sister who would always quote this back to her sister, like, you know, if y'all listen to the words of that quote, it's really powerful. Ohana means family. They were teaching their kids that if you're family, if you're a part of this family, nobody gets left behind or forgotten. Why? I mean, that's what I'm saying. When it comes to certain cultures, is love even is it an option? Is it there? Or is it more about control and power and people just submitting to what you say that culture should look like? And that's my problem with, you know what I'm saying? Just like, okay, I feel just more free spirited, not being tied to anything considered culture these days, because it's really dangerous, especially when I looked at the first four letters of culture being cult. Like, I got to be careful with who I'm calling my friend, what group I'm running with, what companies I'm saying I'm a contract with, what, you know, because everybody's culture or cult is not good. But we know that theirs was for them to say nobody in this family gets left behind or forgotten. So they ended up leaving their children, you know what I'm saying? They didn't know they would leave before their children, but they died in a car accident. Just go check out the movie. It's a great representation of what I was trying to say, or an example of a culture that seemed to have the spirit of unity, the concept of love really, really deep rooted into their heart when it came to family. And so do these other cultures who are willing to move to America to make better opportunities for their families. If not moving them here, then being able to send them help back where they are. To me, only love would lead you to do such a thing. Getting tired of seeing your people go through oppression and brokenness time and time again would lead to such a thing. You know what I mean? So that's just what I wanted to bring. Whatever culture you're a part of, community, group, if they not bringing love to the table, what you tell me right now, what has you a part of it? Money, power, control. Because if money and power and control was the answer to everything, and I hate to step on toes, I don't think our world, our community, our country, and certain cultures on this globe right now would look the way that they do. If money, power, and control was the answer to you being able to respect humans for who they are. Humans, right? See a human for who they are. We know that a woman is the weaker or lesser of a man anyway. So anybody out here comparing themselves to a woman and you a man, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Because regardless of how much you really deeply in secret respect her, or you really in secret applaud her for how strong she is, she'll never be a man. And any woman sitting back jealous or envious of a man, you know, it's these little bitty type of problems, though. I'm telling y'all that while we have so many unhealthy cultures growing and nobody's saying nothing about it, to me, that is another reason why you have unhealthy cultures growing and also spreading. And it's like it's just becoming the norm. And I thought this would be a great video discussion topic on my channel tonight. If you got anything out of it, leave me a like and subscribe to this channel for more of my perceptions and views and opinions on real life events in 2022. Thank you for supporting my channel. Crown Publishing Content, where publishing and marketing meet. Tune in to previously recorded podcast show segments with entrepreneurs and authors in 2022 when you visit my podcast platform, Spreaker, SPREAKER.com/, show/5379253. But don't worry, I'm going to leave the link in the comment section. We're also going to have a few more special guests this week, but it won't be till later this week, so y'all don't have to be staying tuned the next 3 days for interviews with authors and entrepreneurs. We won't be back on that again until Thursday and Friday of this week. Today is June 21st, 2022. Thank you guys for your support, and until next time.